All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to unpack one of Shakespeare's most debated and honestly most complicated plays, The Merchant of Venice. We're not just going to walk through the plot. Nope, we are going deep, right into the powerful themes that make this story so incredibly timeless and, yeah, pretty controversial. Let's get to it.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll quickly touch on why themes are so important in the first place. Then we'll start untangling the play's biggest conflicts, prejudice, the huge clash between justice and mercy, and that tricky relationship between love and money. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the big, uncomfortable questions this play leaves us wrestling with.
So why are we going to focus so much on themes? Well, if you're studying this play, especially for your exams, this is everything. It's about shifting your thinking from just what happens next to what does it all mean?
Exactly. This is the secret sauce. Examiners aren't looking for a simple book report. They want to see this conceptualized approach. They want to see you grappling with the big ideas. And that's exactly what we're here to help you do. If you can master the themes, you've pretty much mastered the play.
Okay, let's get right into the raw nerve of the play. The entire story is built on this really ugly foundation of prejudice. The society in Venice immediately casts one of its central characters, Shylock, as the ultimate outsider.
You really have to picture this world. Venice is this glamorous, bustling center of trade, right? But just beneath the surface, it is absolutely simmering with intolerance. For Shylock, just getting through the day means navigating this constant hostility, all because he's Jewish in a society that's overwhelmingly Christian.
And this prejudice? Oh, it is not subtle. Just listen to Antonio here. He has zero remorse. He's not just admitting he was cruel to Shylock, he's literally promising to do it again. That tells you just how deep-seated and personal this hatred really is.
This kind of language is so revealing. By calling Shylock a dog, the other characters are actively trying to strip him of his humanity. It's a way for them to justify their own cruelty, you know? Because if he's not really a man, then it doesn't matter how they treat him.
And this is Shylock's thunderous reply. It is one of the most powerful speeches in all of Shakespeare, for sure. He's not just asking questions here. He is demanding that they recognize the basic shared humanity that they've systematically denied him. It's his way of fighting back against their attempts to dehumanize him.
So all of this tension, all this prejudice, it all comes to a head and just explodes in the play's climax, the courtroom scene. This is where the whole conflict gets boiled down to an epic battle between two massive ideas, justice and mercy.
First up, we have justice. Think of this as the cold, hard letter of the law. It's about rules, contracts, and getting exactly what you are owed. No more, no less. This is Shylock's entire argument.
And on the other side, you've got mercy. This is something else entirely. It's the choice to be compassionate, to rise above the strictness of the law and offer forgiveness instead. And this is what Portia is arguing for.
The contrast here is just crystal clear. On one hand, you have Shylock demanding the literal, brutal fulfillment of his bond. And on the other, Portia is appealing to a higher, almost divine ideal of mercy, one that she says is a blessing for both the person who gives it and the person who receives it.
Shylock does not budge, not 1 inch. For him, the law is the only real power he has in a world that has completely rejected him. He clings to it because in his mind it's the only way he can get what he sees as justice for years and years of abuse.
And then you get Portia's legendary response. She's arguing that you can't force mercy, it has to be given freely, like a natural divine gift. She's trying to lift the entire argument from a legal document to a question of moral character.
But here's the massive twist. After that whole beautiful speech about mercy, does Shylock actually get any? Think about it. He loses his wealth, his property, and he's forced to convert his religion. It really makes you ask, is this a merciful ending? Or is it just the law being twisted to punish him in a different, maybe even more devastating way?
Okay, so moving beyond the courtroom, the play is filled with all sorts of other bonds, the bonds of love, friendship, and money. Let's take a look at how these human connections are constantly getting tangled up with wealth.
We've got 3 main relationships to keep an eye on. There's Antonio's incredibly intense, selfless friendship with Bassanio. Then there's Bassanio's romance with the very wealthy Portia. And finally, Jessica's rebellious love for Lorenzo, which makes her abandon her home, her father, and her faith.
Now you have to pay really close attention to the order of his words here.
The very first thing Bassanio mentions about Portia is that she is richly left. Her money comes before her looks and even before her good character. That is a huge clue about what might be motivating him.
And that brings us to one of the central questions about the play's main romance. So what do you think? Is Bassanio a true romantic hero who's genuinely in love, or is he more of a fortune hunter who sees Portia as a way to get out of debt? The play never really gives us a straight answer.
But then you compare that to Antonio's friendship, and it's a completely different world. He is willing to offer up everything, his money, his body, literally his life, for Bassanio. This quote just shows a love that is so selfless. Some people even argue it's more romantic than friendly. So where does all this lead? When you put it all together, the prejudice, the fight over justice, the complicated role of money and love, it all converges on one final destructive theme: revenge. This is such a chilling moment. Shylock isn't just saying he wants revenge, he's claiming that he learned this villainy from the Christians. He sees his quest for a pound of flesh as just following the cruel example that they set for him. He's basically saying, I'm just going to do what you taught me, but I'm going to do it better.
Ultimately, you can see how all of these themes are just completely interconnected. This table is a fantastic way to see how it all links up, especially for revision. The prejudice sparks a desire for revenge. That revenge then forces this huge debate about justice versus mercy. And under all of it, you have the messy motivations of wealth and love. Each theme raises a really juicy question. Perfect stuff to explore in an essay.
And that brings us to the ultimate question of the play, one people have been arguing about for over 400 years. After everything he does, and after everything that's done to him, how are we supposed to see Shylock? Is he a vengeful villain driven by pure hatred, or is he a tragic victim broken by an intolerant world? The fact that we still ask this question, that there's no easy answer, is exactly what makes The Merchant of Venice so incredibly powerful today.